Okay, let's get this going. Function 5. Okay, so welcome to the Quick App presentation roundtable discussion today. We have 45 minutes and a number of distinguished panelists with us to discuss Quick Apps. What we're hoping to do is make this discussion very interactive, so we're really counting on your questions. We don't want this to be a one-way street. But before we get into what will be the major party of the discussion, the Q&A session, each of the panelists will have a few minutes to present their company, who they are, and why they think Quick Apps is an opportunity for Europe and, let's say, the world. Not a small ambition. We're going to change things. But we need your help. We need everyone to join in. So Quick Apps and open source, we're going to change the world. Okay, so our panelists, and not in order of how they are seated, we have Gaël Duval from the E Foundation. So some of you may know Gaël. He's a wonderful person, helped launch, in fact launched Mandrake, the Mandrake OS, Linux OS. And is now the chairman or CEO of the E Foundation. Do I have that right, Gaël?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Founder and
founder, yeah.
Leader.
So hopefully many of you will know the E Foundation. If you haven't, you should check them out. We also have Ilke Eden from FAMOB. So Ilke is here and will join the panel in a second. FAMOB is...
Kevin is representing me first.
Okay. Okay, so representing Ilke, or representing FAMOB, we have Kevin for the first few minutes of the discussion. FAMOB is a games company from Germany. Then we have Kester Bishop, who is on the panel, sitting there quietly, from FRVR. And Kester is based out in Portugal. Yep. And also a games company. Okay, so now we're going to, as I said, we're going to go through some presentations for the first few minutes, just to let you know who these guys really are, what their companies are, and why they see a potential in Quick Apps. And then we'll get into your questions around the Quick App platform and why we think you should join our journey making Quick Apps an open source success. Okay, so Kevin.
Okay, first of all, thank you for having us. Yeah, I'm here to represent FAMOB today. We are a game development studio in Germany. And first I want to give you a bit of history, since we've been in the web technology business for now 17 years. Thank you. Okay, so it all started with our first company. The company was called Kaiser Games, and we founded the first gaming websites in Germany and in Turkey. At that point, we also were the most successful ones with over 50 million users. And back in the day, we used flash technology, as you know. And at some point, when smartphones, let's say, arrived, they were not compatible with flash technology. We started to invest into H5 technology. That eventually evolved. So at some point, we decided that we would sell the company. Had a successful exit. We sold it to one of the biggest media houses in Germany. And after that, in 2014, we founded FAMOB. Can you move one slide? Perfect, thank you. Yeah, that's when we founded FAMOB. And right now we are fully focusing on developing H5 games. We partly also publish games, but our main expertise, our core business is making games. And our aim is to go back to the web eventually and bring app quality to the web. And we have prepared a little show reel for you to show you some of our games, so you have an idea how it's going to look like. And yeah, Christian, if you would be so kind.
Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers that the Wi-Fi works in this room.
Cross mine too.
It does appear to, but that's cool. Wi-Fi successfully tested.
Yeah, regarding quick apps, we are working with Huawei. So in the app gallery, you can find our games, and also please feel free after the panel to come to our stand, and then you can test the games on our test devices. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and moving on, we will go to FRVR and Kester, who will introduce FRVR.
Sweet. So we are FRVR, also a games company. We're front loading those. And well, we're on next slide. Perfect. So we're a tech platform. We've currently reached over 1 billion lifetime players. We've also reached over 3 billion sessions. I think these are even slightly out of date as of today. And in a nutshell, what we do, if we can go to the next slide, is we work with dozens of developers of game studios that create the content, and we build it all in the same on the same tech stack, in the same manner, and then we can publish it to absolutely everywhere. So we essentially take a huge catalog of games, which is the next slide, I think. Yep, there we go. So we're up to just under 70 now, plus a load of currently in production projects and some higher budget stuff as well. And then you'll find us pretty much on every platform that's user-facing for instant games. So I've got a couple examples on the next slide. So that's the mobile native app stores as well, even though they are downloaded. That's on Facebook, we're on Snapchat. Last month we went live on Discord as well as the first game partners there. We even have business out in China as well. When we chat over there. So what that gives us, if we go to next slide again, that's an easy way to cue that, is a ton of data and insight from all the way across the industry. This specifically the instant games industry. And what is working, what's not, kind of where it needs to go and what the potential of it is. From working with all these major strategic partners. We consult for Samsung, we're helping directly build their instant games platform. Of course, strategic partner of Facebook and Snap, I think said over. But our mandate at the moment is to help grow this because we see a massive potential in instant gaming. Same as for Mobi as well, where the technical limitations for what's possible with instant games really don't exist anymore. They're not a significant barrier to the experiences. It's just about the ecosystem support and the content that actually gets serviced to users. So that's why we're in the Quick App initiative, because if we have a look on the last slide, we see a few things that Quick Apps can really, really do for this. One of them is undeniably, we buy into the instant future. Like the device connection speed and device computational power hasn't limited experiences for a decade. The ecosystem structure, like what can be built on it, is approaching what can be done with a mobile app, and the experiences you could build in it are so exciting. We 100% believe in the instant future. Why Quick Apps over something like PWAs is because they work for platforms. We'll get into that more later, I'm sure. And lastly, it's because it's open source, we think has a real chance of uniting different platform owners into something that can be fair and equitable for everyone.
Thank you, Kester. Okay, now I'd like to switch to Gail. Gail, I know you haven't provided slides today, but I know you are a very eloquent speaker as well. So please tell us. Yeah, surtout en français. Donc, merci de faire an introduction.
Thank you. So I am Gael, and I've started the E project. E is not a software publisher. Well, we do some software, but it's an operating system for smartphones. And the goal of this operating system is to provide a de-Googled operating system to people who want to break free from the Google ecosystem and to have a digital life with where their data is not continuously catched and harvested by some big techs. So we are doing this mobile operating system that runs on 150 different smartphone models now, and we also sell some smartphones, and obviously we have an app store in the mobile operating system where we list and give access to our users to about 70,000 mobile applications which are mostly Android applications. However, we think that we need something different now from the Android mobile apps or iPhone mobile apps, and we have added a feature to also offer some progressive web apps within the OS. So you actually have access to a choice of Android applications and also progressive web apps. So we had to integrate a runner into a runtime into the OS to have those progressive web apps run just like a native application. So you don't know that you are using a web view when you use this application within the OS. And this leads us to the Quick Apps initiative, because progressive web apps is nice in terms of technology, in terms of independence, the fact that it's open source, but I think that it's not enough. We need more APIs for publishers, etc. And we think that the mini apps and quick apps initiatives is really what we were looking for, to provide a better choice and to move from the proprietary ecosystem, mobile applications ecosystem from Google and Apple to something more independent in the industry. So we are a strong supporter and believer into the concept, and I'm very happy to be here, and I think it's enough.
Thank you, great introduction. Now we also have Martin, and I think Martin's slides actually go into some of what my first question would be, just to kind of kickstart some of the questions, which would be, quick apps are great, obviously, we all agree, and I think everyone in the audience is starting to discover this, but are they being standardized, and are they working while we working in the industry across different partners and devices, so that these become not just a technology platform that we all think should move forward, but a technology platform that will really become a standard that all vendors can use? So I'm going to switch over to your slides. Sorry. Here we go.
Yeah,
Martin.
Thank you, Christian. You can pass a couple of, just click up, yeah, you can put all of the pictures here.
It's quite a busy slide.
Yeah, that's
okay,
fine.
here we go.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Christian. My name is Martin. I'm working, well, I've been working for different working groups and activities in W3C, the World Wide Web Consortium, since 2004. So I've been living all the evolution of the native applications and the fighting of the native applications against the web applications, and all these movements. So you can imagine in 2005, this fight, the new release of the HTML5 and these new applications trying to impose the existing native application. So during this transition, I've been working in different groups in W3C, and now representing Huawei in some of the activities, especially in this W3C consortium. So the World Web Consortium trying to standardize all the web technologies. And this is one of the pictures we have right now. We are discussing right now in W3C, which is the full ecosystem of light applications or mini apps or quick apps that are very popular in Asia, specifically in China and India. There are a lot of different formats, different light apps, mini apps running on top of other super apps, like the ones you can see here, using, for instance, a WeChat or Uber. When you ask, you download the Uber application, the native application, you can order food using Uber Eats. So smaller applications within other super apps, and some other versions of these light apps without the need of installation. Running on top of the browser, like progressive web applications, or some others for Android, like the versions of Google, like instant apps, other specific proprietary ones, like the Apple's app clips, and so on. And on the top, we have quick apps, which is also a subset of this light app ecosystem, and these some of these partners, the quick app vendors, and also, please, the next one, some others like the JD or people like Google and Microsoft realize that this might be a good opportunity to standardize this light app ecosystem with homogeneous ways to define the package, how to define the structure, the envelope of the application, the language to define it if we use HTML, CSS, and so on, and how to deliver this. How the most important thing, how to converge this with the web existing technologies. So we are driving work in W3C, trying to create a homogeneous representation of what we call mini apps. So your question, how this can coexist? Yeah, we are trying to create an homogeneous way to define these quick apps. So these mini apps where quick apps is part of this ecosystem of the standard.
Exactly, and we see all the different manufacturers there within the red circle who are also supporting the quick app platform. Not today in Europe, not all of them are in Europe, but they're all on the quick app platform in one form or another. So, which is fantastic. So, I think this is really interesting because, there's a need. I would say there's a need for a new paradigm in applications. I think we all have mobile phones, right? And if I asked any of you to pull out a mobile phone, I suspect you've got screenfuls of applications, most of which you hardly ever touch. And this is kind of a problem. So we're buying devices which have more and more storage capacity to store applications we don't use. We know in app stores, the developers they're struggling to get their apps surfaced because there's more and more apps every day. So, the developers aren't happy. People who are buying devices are having to pay more because they need more storage. It's also not a very sustainable model. And users, what's the user experience in this? Well, if you want an app, like imagine you're going to a city just for for a visit, right? A short visit, a business trip, or maybe a holiday over a weekend, and you want to kind of have the tourist guide, or you want to like hire a taxi or whatever it is, or maybe even get an e-scooter. You're going to have to download the application. Well, which application do you download? So you've got to hunt it out. You've got to download it. You probably only need it for a couple of days. The whole process is kind of a bit heavy, right? So we're trying to think of these ways where users can interact with their environment in a more fluid, natural mechanism, a more immediate, in-the-moment mechanism. And this is where quick apps really come in. But for this to be a success, I think, there's multiple elements that need to come together, right? And I think one of the elements, this is really key, which is why we have two successful game companies with us, is can we monetize around this? Because, as technologists, we're all interested in driving forward a neutral platform, an open source platform, and that's great. But businesses also need to be able to monetize around these platforms. I'd like to open that question out to maybe Kester. And, how do you see the monetization routes around this? And Leica, if you want to join the panel, please, you're welcome as well.
Yeah, sure. So monetization can be a bit of a dirty topic sometimes, but it is fundamentally required to build cool user experiences. If there's no commercial incentive, people won't do it. And it's one of the biggest barriers to date with technology. The technology hasn't been a barrier, right? The internet connection speed, the device speed has been there for years. The next thing is it valuable to make instant content? And one of the troubles that's had over the last decade or so has been monetization and retention, right? For mobile applications, it's a solved problem. You download it, it's on the home screen icon, you know the user can find it tomorrow. You know that therefore they'll probably engage in more than one session if you can keep them coming back with good content. And things like in-app purchase payment, that's an expected feature of mobile applications. If you can't, if it doesn't work with Google Pay or Samsung Pay or Huawei Pay, whichever payment integration it is, you've done something wrong with your app. For instant content, that's been a struggle. And it's only in the last couple of years where the ecosystem has started to support that. Like you can pay through Snap IAP for instant content on there, or on Facebook, or on Samsung Instant Play, or on Quick Apps, which is another standard that specifically allows monetization of any user in this instant content. And if we have value parity of a user in an instant application to a mobile application, that means you can put down equivalent investment in the content. And that means that with the ecosystem now set up to support it, we're expecting to see a really exciting growth of new experiences designed specifically to be instant. A good example of this that I wish I had a video to show you. You can come see on the at the stand outside after the talks is a game we've been investing in building called Worlds FRVR, which is full real-time 3D block builder, server-based, something more like Minecraft basically. That can be delivered instantly in seconds on pretty much any device down to an old like S5, almost 10 years outdated phone. That's the sort of content you can now build because of ecosystem support like Quick Apps. And that'll only get more powerful if we can move towards a singular standard that allows people to build those applications and have it published to multiple different platforms. And that, I think, is one of the strengths of Quick Apps, is potentially enabling that, which again is another multiplier on the value of creating that content, which means we can make cooler and cooler content.
Do you think, I'm going to pass this one to Gail, do you think, Gail, that there is a need now to kind of rethink the app dynamic and maybe look at how we can democratize the app distribution models and access for people using applications?
Sure, I think that it's one of the promise of the Quick Apps is that you can just have a QR code and just scan the code and use the application.
Yeah.
There is very few assets to download to have the application start. So that's I think that's one of the main benefits for the users is this instant use that Quick Apps allow. But then for regarding the monetization, etc., I'm not an expert.
Yeah, I was also thinking about maybe how Quick Apps can allow users or companies to provide Quick Apps through alternative mechanisms and not the traditional app stores and things like this as well. I think that's also an interesting benefit or side benefit, we could say, even of Quick Apps. Leica, would you like to say anything on the business side of Quick Apps?
Me?
Yeah.
Business side?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the business side directly connects again to monetization,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
our luck, like FRWare and we as Famobi, let's say we're swimming in the blue ocean, so that means there are not a lot of competition. We're kind of representing as small development studios the whole HTML5 industry.
Right.
There are a handful of development studios, but I think we need more big players on the market, and also the support from hardware manufacturers, device manufacturers, and also this Quick App initiative. So we need to join forces,
Right.
and to see where the weaknesses are on the market. And yeah, definitely, I think the turning point is the monetization. It's all about that.
Right.
Because without an existing monetization, for example, we do games, but in-game depth is missing. So why to make
Right.
a game, a full-fledged game with a lot of content, if there's no monetization
Right.
behind? So that means it's kind of a chicken and egg problem.
Yeah.
And we're also talking directly to Google. And I think slowly the mindset is changing because they see that the app ecosystem is unhealthy.
Right.
So that there need to happen something. So what is after the app stores?
Yeah.
So what is post app stores? So there must be evolution. And I think right now here in this group, we're kind of taking the first steps, and we're proud to support this initiative.
Thank you. So I'm going to open the questions out to the audience. Obviously, I could carry on talking with these guys all afternoon, but I think it's only fair that you have your opportunities. So are there questions in the audience? You can ask whether it's, monetizations or the technology or anything you would like. No questions? You're all very timid. Okay.
Or probably we can ask the audience. So
Oh,
which
yeah.
business they're from, so to understand the interest in this topic.
Yeah. So you guys, over to you. Why would you be interested? What would be your interest in Quick Apps? What domains would you be in? How could we make Quick Apps even more interesting for you as, I'm guessing, open source technologists? Yes.
Yes, my question is mostly about what can you have that stays on your phone with a quick app? So if you don't want to have the app staying on, can you still keep your credential for the service, for example?
Is that better like that?
Thank you.
Yeah, if you have a quick app that you have installed but don't want to keep on all the time on your phone, can you still have some metadata, for example, about it that stays, your username, your password if you are accessing a service, or not? Or is that just something that disappears completely?
Who wants to answer? Who's the more technical guy?
I think we could all answer.
Yeah.
We could all answer, yeah.
Yes, basically. This is as for more details as what specifically you can and can't capture. I think, Martin, is there anything that my understanding is that there is nothing in a traditional downloaded native app that is captured there that you cannot also capture and then maintain with a quick app. Is there anything? Martin is Martin and Gail would be our two technical specialists on the team, though. Is there anything at all that you are aware of from quick app that can't be captured?
Yeah, there are, depending on the implementation, but there are some data, some information in the cache that the application is using. You can persist some information there. Indeed, you can share with this information with other quick apps internally, but always preserving the user privacy. Yeah, for accessing the specific information about the identification for the user or the device, the user must explicitly say that they grant the permission for that. But yeah, there is a small part of the information stored in the device, but it depends on the implementation. But yes, mostly yes. The specific part of this is the most interesting part is the user will have the opportunity to keep the shortcut to the quick app without without more than the icon on the home screen of the device. So there is no real installation, at least at the perception of the user, but they can keep the icon and also some cache information.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin. Thank you for the question as well. I'm gonna throw a question out there as well, more to you guys in the audience, right? So, this is a multi-party initiative. We have it's being launched through OW2. I think most of you know OW2. There are several companies taking part in this. But what for you would be the success factor? How would we make this together a European and a worldwide success? How can we do this? So this is a question I would have for you, but I know there's somebody over here who'd also like to answer or ask a question.
Thanks for you guys, for the panelists. So I am a GM of an open source software provider called Inagora. We invest a lot 2 years ago on the Flutter ecosystem. What could be your advice or argument to consider Quick App as an option for the next release of our products? Because we develop a collaborative solution with a mobile app with ability iOS and Android. I need end-to-end encryption. I need local storage. Can I manage with the Quick App this kind of features? And what could be your advice to consider this option for the future of our roadmap?
Guys?
Can I start?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those technologies, in my opinion, are complementary. They can Quick App might help your company or any company to promote third-party applications. If you have a very big application, you can use, for instance, a Quick App to promote the big one. For instance, a premium or using the Quick App, because the user will access directly to the Quick App, and after that you can drive the traffic, the interaction to the biggest application, if you are publishing already the application. The development of quick apps are very quickly, not for any developer using used to use the web app technologies like CSS, JavaScript, and so on. It's very easy to create them, and they are much lighter than a native application. It's easier to create because there are some pre-built components and easy to access the native capabilities of the device. So I think it's a good complement, but yeah, they can coexist. It's not one or the other one. It depends on the case. For sure, with quick apps, you cannot do everything. It's limited in the space. It's a reduced space for limited to 4 megabytes because you need something agile to communicate, to deliver the package and to store the minimum information to be able to run on top of the device. So it's something to consider, and it depends on the use case. If it's a task-oriented and transactional service you want to provide to an end user, I think it's a good case for that. Not all cases are good. But you can see some other advanced cases like Kester's, the example he's presented in the booth. That's a very complete game, also Famobit, that are not so limited to these 4 megabytes because you have some communications underlying.
Yeah.
I would love also to add something. I mean, from the technological side, it's clear, but the main advantage for you using a technology like quick apps would be changing your mindset. So that means when you're developing a product, then you see it from, okay, how can my users access my product very fast? So while developing, you try to reduce file sizes, you try to make a kind of very frictionless entrance to the user, because you said you're using Flutter, right? How important is it for you to go to web? So is it, so I mean, so that's the main question. So I mean, we're developing games, so games could also be developed in Unity. But if you start so the question would be, okay, why to develop games in a web technology? You have limits, this and that. They're not really publishing platforms. Then I better go with Unity and go to the app stores. Yes, you can do. But the main problem is if you work with developers using Unity, or let's say Unity is in this case Flutter, they don't care about file size. They don't care about speed. So your product will be full of stuff. But if you're using quick app kind of technologies, then it's like you need to change the whole approach. And this will make your whole product more lighter, faster, quicker, and you can access a lot of different platforms. So this is just changing mindset when developing product is the biggest advantage.
Do you think you can break a traditional heavy application into like I'm going to say micro functions, where as the user's trying to access certain functions, those packets of functionality are brought into the quick app, so that the quick app itself can be high speed launched, but actually the functionality can be quite rich, and you're just downloading the packets of function that you need when you use them? Would that be a use case that could be possible, do you think?
I mean, this is what we're doing right now with games.
Yeah.
So we call lazy loading or continuous loading. And this is what I mean. You need to do it from the beginning of the development. You can't develop a product and then you say, okay, we slice and dice it into components and then we load. It's too late.
Yeah.
So from the beginning on, you need to do this. Okay. Yes, it's possible, and it is, I think, nowadays necessary if you develop products to have this approach.
Okay. Very cool.
I would add to that this isn't new either. Like over 10 years ago, the first World of Warcraft download, click and tries were only a couple of minutes before you could play, because it just loads in what's necessary for the player at that time. That's a game, sure, another game's example, but that principle is applicable across any product that you're building. So I think there's file size is a limit to some extent, but there are some really well-established and well-understood ways to get around that. it's only about slimming down that initial package, which a quick app standard helps a lot with, as Ilka said. I think as for other benefits of why you would look to use a quick app, there's the building them is quick and light. They should be quicker to create than a classic app. Then there's the addressing a user in new ways. So as Ilka was saying, like not going through the app store, finding other spaces to address your user in. A good example of that would be QR codes at an airport for a travel app, right? When no one wants to go to the airport, like, and in order to check in, you have to download the app, then you check in, then you uninstall the app, and Claudio literally is doing that on the way back to Lisbon again after this, right? Like, it sucks. But because you can then reach the users directly when they need these functions, you can totally bypass the App Store, because you can put your call to action to engage with the product where the actual engagement is necessary. And then the step beyond that, like when we've really matured, is looking at creating entire new experiences that couldn't exist if it was downloaded. That's something like knowing that if I share part of my application with someone else, that they're not going to have to go to an app store and download it in order to then interact with me. They will just be able to open it and also engage. So we can start to design stuff like I would love for if at the booth today, you could just scan a QR code and drop straight into a world and immediately be playing with everybody in the game. That's technically possible. We could do that, and it wouldn't even take that long to implement. The only issue with it is getting to a place where more devices are quick app enabled. And at that point, when it starts to have more market adoption across different platforms, then those truly connected experiences can be designed for from a content perspective, and then we enter into a really exciting time.
So that's kind of like peer-to-peer app serving.
I don't think that
to go down that route. Yeah.
It's less I guess it's peer-to-peer entry points.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get you.
But that's social. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Okay. Any other questions? It's quite gone down a rabbit hole there, but there are many rabbit holes we can discover. Any other questions? So, yeah, I'm gonna kind of ask some questions while you guys are thinking of your next challenge for us. In terms of like the future world, what role do you think quick apps can play, and what role do you think open source will play in this kind of connected world that we're moving towards, where our objects are connected, and e-scooters are connected, and coffee machines are connected? And how do you think that world will evolve when we think of these light app technologies and when we think of open source? That's kind of quite a big question.
It's a deep question.
Maybe Gail. Or anyone, guys, go for it.
I can just answer on the device part. I think it's important that we bring an efficient runner for quick apps.
Right.
So that when you meet a QR code with a quick app, you can just scan it and it will run on your device. For now, I think that maybe only a few companies have implemented this, but we will probably have this in iOS. And I think that if we have a reference implementation of an efficient quick app runner, open source, that would be really a good sign and more chance for the success of quick apps, because obviously this means that every OS publisher, at least on the mobile, I don't know on the PC or tablets, but every operating system publisher could integrate this technology and make it compatible with quick apps. And that lets maybe I have a question. I don't know this, but do we have plans to support quick apps on PC, or I don't see any showstopper from this?
No, there is no issues. Indeed, there are some pilots in Asia. Some of the early vendors proposing quick apps and defining quick apps, they have some pilots in running on desktop operating systems. Not all published because they are under development, and they do some. They did it under some research projects in some universities, but it exists at some point.
Yeah, so understanding that quick apps is actually you have to separate out the quick app part, which is the application, and then the runtime the engine that runs it, the SDKs that run it, which sit above the OS. So you're presenting a normalized API set towards the app developers, and then the OS developers have to integrate the engine into their backend, which is why we have this kind of this challenge to bring the quick app platforms to the multiple vendors and to ease their to make the friction for them as low as possible, because once they've developed the southbound side of things and integrated the engine into the OS or with the OS, because it's not in, then from the northbound perspective, you can run anywhere. And that's really a giant opportunity. So here we're speaking with Gail from the E-Foundation, so that looking at doing quick app support on EOS. Huawei has quick app support running on their Huawei phones, and we've seen other vendors also implement quick app support. So yeah, I think running it on different platforms, and not just different OSs, but and for smartphones, but also different platforms. You think of smart fridges and all kinds of stuff. So I think there's a very interesting mechanism that is possible here, and going through this open source route provides a lot of collaborative potential where we can together kind of build that out. Now we have a couple of minutes left, but not very many, really only one, but maybe we can overrun by a minute. If anyone would have a last question or a last comment, maybe Ilka, you wanted to say something.
I'm more the mental, spiritual guy. I don't want to talk about technology because everything is mentioned. I told you that it's changing mindset, and there is the phenomenon, probably it's called app fatigueness. So the people are fed up with downloading stuff, so the usage of apps is going down, and if we talk about this kind of technology, we will definitely increase usage of any type of services.
Yeah, personally I download less and less apps now. And the ones I do download, sometimes I'm looking for a function and you search the app store, there's like a bunch of apps that come up, you download all of them, you try one, oh, that doesn't work, you try another, it works, you don't even test the other ones. And yet they still kind of sit on your phone generally. So yeah, there's a problem. And you can think of so many use cases. You could think of, you're going to a museum, the museums, they all have their audio guides, right, with the kind of normally not so great headphones where you can hardly hear anything. Why not just scan quick app and use your smart device and your headphones? That way the museums don't have to stock all these electronic waste gadgets, and you've got a better experience. So there's hundreds of use cases you could think around this. If we change this kind of mentality so that the app dynamic becomes the notion of I want to access and do something now, and I don't want the trouble of downloading and app stores and all of this kind of stuff. I just want to have an action that I do now. So I think that's really where the potential is. We're at the beginning of the route. The Quick App Initiative, there's a QR code there. We have a stand, it's D24. You can come and chat to us anytime over the next couple of days. The guys have some demos running as well. I know Martin also has a laptop with a whole bunch of script on it, so you can actually see some programming and transfer the programming over to phone if you're really into that kind of side of things. So yeah, please come and visit us. Thank you for your time today. Thank you the panelists for their time today, and we hope to see you soon within the community of Quick App. So thank you and have a great event.
Thank you, Christian.